All right, folks, we just have 1 minute left to go. Autumn and Mirrors coming in here, in between Striker and Faye. It's an even Steven, and we jump into game number 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third game in this series. An Autumn and Mirror between Striker and Faye. West side, in the color red, will be Faye. South side, color blue, that's going to be Striker. One of the best female players of Age of Empires 4. Faye. Going to be looking to try and get through to that round of 32. I'll tell you what, it's a tough ask up against Striker. He's an incredibly solid player. I wouldn't want to be in her spot right now, Lidakor.
Well, I think you would probably want to be in her spot, actually. She is in the top 64 of competitive AoE 4 right now in Golden League, and she's actually in a pretty decent position to possibly pull an upset against the higher seeded player, Striker, and move on to the round of 32. So I can tell you that a lot of us would love to be in her place right now. Whoa.
That's true, but hold on, watch out, little scout. You're going a little bit too close there, my friend. Fortunately, the vills stay outside of the town center. But let's talk a little bit about this map and have a look at the resource generation or resource spawn that we've got here. Rocky Canyon. So both players opening up with a military school. I suspect we're probably going to have Spearmen just rallied towards gold mines of their own rather than to their enemies.
Yeah, at this point, you just have to open military school because you can't afford not to do it and then have your gold denied, for instance. So, as you said, both players could just opt to play this defensive and make sure that they are not getting pushed away from the gold, especially if you think about how game 1 worked out. In game number 1, Striker went for a very aggressive Dark Age, 11 Spearmen with the HRE, and completely denied Faye's gold mine, so Faye had to resign after like 10 minutes or so. This is something that Faye wants to avoid in a decider game.
Yeah, definitely the case. And we can see now Faye going to be heading to the other side of the map, looking to pick up some enemy sheep potentially, but not spotting out anything just yet. First spears are out for these players as well. And the age up's going to be coming through soon. So I'm expecting twin minaret madrasas. What are you expecting?
I think it has to be the twin minaret. There is a world where you could justify the Soda Honey trade network, but it's way too risky. And one thing that we've been discussing before this even is that the return of investment is much faster when it comes to the twin minaret madrasa. So that's likely going to be your landmark, is the safer choice. That being said, as you mentioned before this game, Faye does play with some of the weirder players, or players that love to employ weirder strategies, so if anyone, it could be her who pulls the Soda Honey trade network, but there's the answer, twin minaret for both, so both opting for the more obvious and safer landmark.
Yeah, no real surprises there. I think especially on a map like this, where we look at the positioning of the trading posts, they're not the most defensive trading posts. You are quite open if you were to go for trade on a map like this, especially considering you don't have access to stone walls at all. No access to keeps either. So it's actually I've just realized that that trade is going to be a lot harder with the Ottomans with no access to keeps. You've got nothing to buff up the movement speed of your traders. So in the Imperial Age, so trade not going to be as strong in this this stage of the game.
Yeah, for sure, but in general, if you look at the settings here, stone walls and keeps banned, that likely means that we won't see that many games going into like the 1 hour mark or 1 hour 30 mark. There is gonna be way more, at least, let's say that the earlier stages of the game will have a much more amplified importance.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I was actually watching a couple of games that had the same, or they were playing tournament rules for this stage, and it was kind of crazy the amount of action that was happening around the mid game, where you'd expect typically to see stone walls across the entirety of the map, and you didn't have that. There was just units going in everywhere. It was wild. So I suspect we're going to be moving towards that ever so slowly, but we do have the age ups now coming through. 435 for Faye, Striker about 440. So both pretty decent, pretty on-time age ups here. And let's see where they go from here, whether we're going to have feudal age, whether we're going to have castle age as a potential option. Faye still quite heavy on gold at this point. No sign of any upgrades coming through either for Faye. This is one thing to note, is that normally after aging up, Ottoman players are looking to get those upgrades through. Double broadaxe, wheelbarrow, but nothing in queue for her.
Yeah, if you look at the eco distribution for Faye, about 300 food per minute, about 100 gold per minute as well. If you do the math on this, that would basically mean that she would have the required amount of resources for Castle Age in about 3.5 minutes-ish. So based on that eco balance and based on that distribution of villagers, it makes me feel like she wants to just go for a fast castle here.
Yeah, and I like this a lot. I think this makes sense. Just going fast castle into men-at-arms. Men-at-arms can obviously be a really solid defense. Helps out at guarding any potential mangonels that you want to be going for. And it just synergizes really well with your landmark, the Twin Minaret Madrasa, because you've got all this extra food available to you. So it does indeed seem that she's going to be heading in that direction towards the Castle Age. I'm curious what Striker can look to do to stop this, because at the moment, Striker's gathering up some stone. It's gathered up 60 so far, so I suspect it's probably just going to be for a second military school. There's only 3 vills there, and yeah, look at this. This is definitely all in. So we might have a potential feudal age all in against the Castle Age defense. This could be exciting.
Yeah, and look at what Striker is doing. He's also up to 100 stone. Because as much as you can't build keeps, you can still build standard outposts and place emplacements on them. And if you look at the accessible wood on this map, it can easily be towered, especially if you have the military to back it up with. And I think the concern for Faye is that she's blind right now. She doesn't see any of this coming. She's got no eyes on that base. So she has no idea that there is already a matter on the field, archers are coming, Sipahis are out there. This could come as a very nasty surprise for her.
Where did you see the meta? I didn't see the meta. Am I that far behind? What's your in-game timer right now, Lidakor?
It's 6:50 right now.
Oh, okay. No, we're at the same time. I don't see the meta, though.
It's top of the screen on the overlay, my boy.
Oh. You got eyes in the back of your head, my friend. How did you see that? Okay, that's a good call. Yeah, interesting point, though. Like, at this point, I still feel like Faye should be able to hold this, right? Like, one of the things that I always feel about when I'm playing the Ottomans is I've got time. I've got time before I need to do stuff, before I need to react to them, before I need to respect them. I've got time. And you can see the score pulling ahead for Striker at the moment, and it might look concerning. But remember, when Faye's got that age up coming through, she's going to be feeling A-okay.
Yeah, I think critically she sees the matter. And that should be a sign that, okay, there has to be aggression coming, because for Striker to pull a matter at this point, especially seeing the Sipahi, seeing the archers, that should tell Faye that, hey, there is aggression coming this way. And look at that. Imams are pulled by Faye to heal the villagers out there on the gold mine. She needs a little bit more time for the gold. She's going to be fine on the food, but gold could be a little tight here going into Castle Age.
Yeah, we now begin to see walls coming up as well on the north side of either base, or both bases, rather. We do have palisade walls slowly going up. Now, remember, Faye's going to be able to utilize... Yeah, Faye's going to be able to utilize the imams pretty effectively here, so could be looking to pick up relics in the center of the map. That could be an option for her. Alternatively, could just look to try and take the safe one, but Spearman having to clear out the intruder.
Yeah, like, given how big investment it is from Striker, this is a little pedestrian pace of actually pushing the base of Faye. Faye has an untouched Castle Age timing over here, despite the fact that Striker invested into 2 ranges, a stable. You see, Striker's just now moving out. It's gonna be too little too late, because by the time he arrives, there is gonna be an armory out there to pop out mangonels to go with the archers. There's a stable coming, so you can start working on lancers. I think this timing is too late for Striker.
I feel the same way, but there's only 6 villages on the MIA, and the MIA is not directly under the town center. So there is the option to try and like camp the MIA, and as soon as that mangonel does pop out, then you just immediately hit it with cavalry. Because the mass is pretty decent here from Striker. He's sitting on 25 military pop at the moment.
But the
yeah,
angle of attack, that's the big thing. He's going for gold mine.
The other thing to note is that that just a couple of men-at-arms here is going to be incredibly difficult to deal with. Of course, you've got movement speed, but I mean, you can only kite for so long and so effectively.
Exactly. The problem is that if you kite, you won't be denying that gold mine. Now, this is actually a pretty decent push over here, but Faye has gotten what she needs. She's got enough gold for a couple of men-at-arms, as you said. And critically, Striker is pushing this gold mine, so he's only going to find that armory finished and complete.
Yeah, so I think the important part for Faye right now is just not to fight, not to lose any army, any mass, and doesn't want to lose any units either. That's another really important thing. Just needs to keep everything alive until the mangonel's out. Once the mangonel's out, then you're all good to go. But yeah, it's imperative that she just keeps everything above board at the moment.
Exactly, and look at the commitment from Striker. Has to go, realizes that he won't be able to beat Faye if Faye starts building men-at-arms. But what is he going to do so close to the town center? I don't think he can dive this.
Yeah, he won't be able to dive the town center, but he looks like he's positioning well towards that north side of the base, and he's going to be able to shut down a couple more villagers here. You can see them running towards that wall, looking to build a gate. Might be in a little bit of trouble, though. Indeed, they are. Villagers trying their best. Look at them just standing by idly. Villagers wake up, and we've got a Lancer out, Knight's out on the field. Lancer could turn the tide right now. This could be huge. Villagers do end up making it out alive. 6 villagers have gone down so far. The single Knight is going to have a little bit of trouble. There are spearmen here to help deal with it. Mangonel, it's sitting at about 50% through that MIA, and we do see those free units on the way through as well. More Knights in queue. No, there's no more Knights in queue. That's the last of it. So this is the all-in, the timing that mattered so much. Now remember, Striker's got an advantage here, but at the same time, he's down in age. He's completely all-in here. Continuing to spam out units. 5 Spahi in the queue, 2 Archers. Is Faye going to be able to hold? That's going to be the big question.
And no Spearman. If there was a couple more Lancers for Faye, this would be fine, but she was actually queuing Sipahis and not Lancers. Slowly, this is a cleanup, but the price to pay is massive. Faye is losing so many villagers because she's not noticing the northern side. Look at that, Aussie. Villagers getting slain. This could be game.
Yeah, 13 villagers now killed already for Striker. He's doing an amazing job and looking to take down even more villagers now. Oh, jeez, this is not good. But remember, Faye has got the tempo advantage. She's going to have that Mangonel coming out a solid 2 minutes before her enemy. And she can march that down towards the enemy, begin applying pressure. And as long as she's able to keep up the tempo, that's all that matters. So right now, what she really needs to do, the key difference here is she needs to add in more military schools. Look to try and get to 4 military schools as quickly as possible. And then use that added tempo with the existing MIA. And she should be in a position to challenge this.
Well, that's the only hope that she has right now. Mangonel needs to stay alive, but no villager is there to repair. Villager is not being pulled, but if that Mangonel goes down, it's a disaster.
Yeah, that Mangonel almost looks certain to go down. So many Spahi diving in on it. I can't help but feel like with that Mangonel going down and so many villagers being killed here, this is good game. Faye is not looking pretty right now. And unfortunately, in this first round, the round of 64, it looks like, at least in stage 1, she'll be going out right here. And it is indeed good game.
And the timing was just good there from Striker. It was concerning for a while because he was building up his forces, not really applying a lot of pressure. Faye actually got up to Castle Age untouched, but the moment she did, Striker just made the decision to dive, and that was the right decision to make. And at the end of the day, it partly came down to that wood control we discussed at the beginning of the game. Faye just had no safe access to wood because the moment Striker dived, there was just never a place for Faye to go with her economy. Never really managed to capitalize on that Castle Age. So indeed, Striker closes the set out with a 2-1 victory, but Faye definitely made him run for his money. And it's not like Faye is out just yet. She's gonna be going down to the loser's bracket, still alive in the first stage of Golden League.
Yeah, well, good luck to her. It's going to be tough from the loser's bracket. But that was an impressive strategy from her. Just really well executed from Striker, though. Honestly, on his side, the timing attack, I felt like it came a little bit too late, but he managed to keep it all together. I think had Faye placed her MIA a little bit closer to her town center, really kept her pocket protected, and made sure that her units didn't die, she could have been in a solid position there. But unfortunately, lost a few too many villagers. Mangonel got taken out, and the fight happened before it could come out. And yeah, unfortunately, it all just went away from her. So well played to Faye, and congratulations to Striker for moving on.